So, welcome. I don't think we need to make introductions. Everybody pretty well knows everyone else. We're missing two members of our committee. We're missing Ryan, who is out of the town on vacation, and a man by the name of Justin Keys, who was appointed at large from the board. Justin is a real estate attorney, and he lives up in Lake Creek Crossings, and he practices in Park City.
How would you spell his last name?
K-E-Y-S.
Okay, well that's simple. And
Ryan.
Starks.
Oh, perfect. That's right.
That was set up, the way this interlocal was set up is that we had two members from the county council, because we represent all the unincorporated area, one representative from Heber City, one representative from Midway, and then we had the Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Office representative, and then two members at large.
And then, are you in at large?
No,
I'm in
he's,
Midway.
he's the Midway representative. I'm actually just here, I'm not the person.
Okay.
I'm just here.
I invited Celeste today.
Celeste.
Celeste. That's how he combines Corbin and Celeste.
Yes. I invited the mayor this morning.
Courtney, tell me your name, please.
Cortland Nelson.
Cortland.
C-O-U-R-T-L-A-N-D.
Maybe a little background on Cortland.
Yeah.
He was the director for a number of years for the Park and Recreation here in Utah.
Okay.
And he overseen the park during the Olympic time. And then he went to be the head of the Parks and Recreation for the state of Minnesota for 10 years. And then he came back. He's what we call semi-retired.
There you go. There you go.
But you can't recognize that.
That's the way
But you
are
were
speaking.
over all the state parks in the state of Utah, right?
Ah, that's wonderful. Great.
If you go up to Soldier Hollow, not the golf course building, but the other side building,
Okay.
that's the Cortland Nelson building.
No,
So
no.
he's
Oh,
famous.
that's wonderful.
Cortland had the same job that Fred Hayes has now. So
Oh, it's just
he's
terrific.
well versed in the outdoor recreation and the needs for open space. Spencer is the county councilman from Wallsburg, and he just drew the short straw to be on this committee. No, they selected Spencer with his agriculture background.
Great.
And Tracy is a real estate agent that's been in the valley for
28 years.
28? You're still a newcomer.
I'll
But-
never be a local, right? No matter how long I am
Yeah.
here.
No matter how
Anyway,
many tears
Tracy-
and blood she sheds, right?
Tracy
Yeah, it's
has
okay.
been well involved with the real estate market. She knows the real estate market forward and backwards, and the community. And so, with that, we need to select a chairman and vice chairman for this committee. I don't know if we want to do that now or wait till we have the full committee here next month or next meeting. We probably want to meet a couple of times a month
I'd say let's wait.
and get everybody here.
Yeah,
Okay.
have a chat, see who's got the time, and,
Is that,
get a
Yeah,
get a
that's
sense
fine.
of where we
That's
want to
fine.
go.
That's
let's do that. There's no objection. I'll conduct the meeting on this.
Mhm.
We need to establish a meeting schedule. So what works for everybody?
Are you thinking monthly
I would
at
think,
the top?
for the first couple of months, I would like to meet twice a month.
Oh, okay.
Because we've got a kind of a looming deadline. We need to come out with an idea or a plan to take that back to the county council. And I would think in June originally, but then in talking with the mayor, we maybe need to move that up to March so that the county can decide if they're going to go to put it on the ballot. If not, then it still leaves time for the citizen group to put a petition together.
Not really,
Not really?
because the initiative petition has to be done by April 15th. So it doesn't allow us enough time. And so, I mean, my suggestion, if everybody's open to it, is to meet weekly for the first couple weeks and then see where we're at as a group, and let's really get to know each other as a group. And what do you think of that idea? I mean, it's just that there's other people waiting on our decision, and we're starting in January, which, as you know, we were hoping to start sooner, so we're kind of crunched.
And if I could just throw this out there as maybe a light bulb to hang over the group. We're not looking to pass a bond, right? You're not looking to pass a bond. You're looking to put a bond on the ballot, and then the people will vote. So I think even if you're not 100% clear on what the definitions of open space are for another couple of months, I mean, I think the key point is what you're trying to do is just get this to the ballot. I think that some of those other details could be ironed out, and if there's a commitment that this is going to go to the ballot, I think a lot of people are going to take a step back and breathe a little easier, knowing that something's happening, you know. So the emphasis maybe for those first couple of weeks would be, can we put this on the ballot? Can we deal with the rest of these details in the next couple of months, but can we decide now? The citizens of Midway are pretty passionate about getting a bond on the ballot. So, like I said to Steve earlier today, we want to support what's happening here. But if we have to, we'll pass a bond too that we'll never use, you know, if what works out here works. So anyway, I just want to float that out there.
Can I ask, what is the deadline to put something on the ballot this year?
It's
As
in June that the council does it.
In June?
Isn't it, Tracy?
And is
I
that,
actually think it's later than that.
but I
Well,
think
maybe.
it could be later for your city. I'm just
Oh,
wondering
the
what it is.
council.
Well, if the council of, you know, the county or the city, if they vote to do it, which would be awesome, then the citizens are, there's no deadline. You just have, the county clerk is the person who
Yeah, we
would
have
then
to
tell
say.
you how many days before the election, he has to get the ballots together, and the wording for the bond is gonna take the county attorney a while. So all those things have to be done.
I would hope
You
that
know,
we have
but-
the determination made by June, so that we can get all the other details worked out.
I think that's a realistic, I mean, if you determine that it's going to go on the ballot in the next couple of weeks, that's deadline number one, right? Then,
Right.
once
Well,
you've made that decision.
It's gonna be the council that makes that
Right,
determination.
right.
We're gonna make the recommendation.
Right.
Right.
But
And
if
have
we-
them sporting, you know, we need to define what open space is gonna be, what we're gonna try to preserve.
Well, those are details that we can work on while we know it's going to the ballot in
But I
November.
think that's important for the council to understand before they vote.
Well, and that's part of what our group is going to do,
Yeah.
is inform ourselves so that we can go out and do community outreach, which is going to the council and going, here's our criteria of what we're going to do. But the actual text of the ballot is the most important thing to get our, how much? Is it 5 million or 10 million? You know, is it going to include, you know, some money going to Midway? How is that bond going to be worded? That's the big decision that can be made
Well,
pretty soon. And then all this other details can be done in the next 4 or 5 months so that we're informing the public before the election. So,
Steve, remember the work we did a decade plus ago, where we decided with the other county committee that we would save the A20 fields, North Fields first, South Fields as much as we could, the Midway Bottoms, and the Wallsburg corridor. And we looked at all the land in the whole county, and you know that. So I'm saying, why do we have to duplicate that again?
Probably just need to make sure that it's still the same priorities.
well, I think it is.
well, and here's the
But I
thing.
think the question is, Tracy, are we gonna buy the land? Are we gonna buy the development rights off the land? Are we gonna buy a conservation easement on it? or not. We buy the land, we're creating a political liability.
Yeah, and
Because
I wouldn't push for that. I'd
Somebody's got to
say,
take care of it.
Here's the thing, the seed money for the bond
Okay.
is seed money
right,
to do all sorts of different things. We're not gonna buy land outright. If we are smart about this money that we're gonna get from the public, we're gonna wanna leverage it 3 times of the original. So the least favorable thing is to buy any land outright because you're not getting the bang for the buck. So here's the thing, there has to be criteria to present land to this board so that we can vote on it and we can talk about it. So my point is you have to have a participating landowner. You have to have a way to leverage that money. Do you have grants in line? Do you have a private donor that's gonna step up? I mean, all those things determine which lands become priorities too. It's not just what areas of the county do we want to save, it's also who's a seller that's coming forward and do we have a match to make this all happen. That takes years. It's not something that happens right away. But that's how you determine which lands are priorities, is how much can we leverage this money to this situation. Do you know what I mean? So it's not just areas of the county we're looking at. We're looking at how viable is this land, and is it a crucial piece of property to us as well?
I don't think it would be a bad thing for the Midway or Heber wanted to do their own, to save certain areas of their annexation area. Because I look at this being, we're going to get the best bang for our buck in the Northfields where it's zoned accordingly and such. And that's probably where we want to focus a lot of our...
Well, that's where we start. I mean, in the meantime, there's so much other things coming. I think once we have a couple successes, we're going to have landowners approach us and, want to participate. It's just getting off the ground, the first 1 or 2. So
we have
Let's resolve the issue on how we share this bond money.
I don't see anything in here that talks about sharing the...
Bond sharing.
It's right here.
Bond sharing based on taxable value. Intent of the Wasatch Open Plan is to identify open space priorities that will be beneficial to the residents of Wasatch County. Participating municipalities may have different priorities than the Wasatch Open Land Board or county or other municipality. This agreement hereby authorizes a percentage of the bond revenue based on taxable value to be used by the individual municipality with the following requirements. 1, the municipality must have a functioning open land board appointed by the legislative body that will make a recommendation to the Wasatch Open Land Board. 2, provide a member of the appointed open space board to the Open Lands Board. 3, the municipality must have adopted open space map identifying priorities for open space purchases. The map shall prioritize open space areas that will provide some of the following. The greatest amount of benefit to the county residents, not just a limited number, provide significant public use, connect to networks of open space, through private public trails, preserve historic or cultural buildings, or ground deemed important to the municipality.
So this can be within that municipality?
Yes.
I mean, the phrasing almost sounds like it still has to be out in the county, not in the municipality.
No, it can be in the municipality.
That's what, okay.
The only criteria is that you have to have a map, you have to have an open space board.
And we've got that according to the chair of that board.
Yeah.
Okay.
And determine value. The taxable value determined by the county council based on tax assessment numbers and updated as needed.
Okay.
So we found out that 15% of the taxable value for Wasatch County came from Midway, and 15% of the bond could be spent. If you had a piece of property, that much would be.
But see, again, we want it to be leveraged, right? Like Tracy said.
Right.
We want to be able to leverage this as seed money, and the least expensive way would be to probably buy the development rights or we'll have to see. I mean, we had really expensive development rights 10 years ago or so when we did
Well,
the study.
we tried to do the study with the transfer development rights, and that won't work
It
here
won't
because they're
work.
landed too.
Yeah, that's the least
Well, I
of
think-
our
I think
options,
maybe
but
that
So
ought
that
to
might
be
conservation
change.
easements?
redone and maybe even taken out of the.
Well, I think you look at things like, you work with a landowner who says, you know, I've got 20 acres, 40 acres, whatever. I'll put X amount of that acreage in a conservation easement, so that's his tax break, her tax break. That's, benefits them.
Okay.
And then what's left, I'm willing to sell at this price, this is market value, this is what I'm willing to sell it for. And then we, if it's ag land, then we go and try to get some federal ag money. They'll match it. I mean, that's what happened, you know, that property with Osgothorpe from the 158 acres that they're working on in Park City so hard. Basically, Park City's only gonna have to come up with 4 million. You know, they haven't, that deal's not done yet, but it's close, and they're gonna save 158 acres. So those are the kinds of things I think you look at. I think, you know, you build your list, you build your map, that's all great, but if number 10 on the list is not in the prioritized color on the map, but they're willing to play ball, then you take it, you get a win under your belt.
well, and you
You-
have
you
to,
you have
you
to
know,
make-
this
There's some
board's
extra
gonna
things that
have
come
to
into there
figure
as
that
far as the
out,
tax
yeah.
breaks and stuff.
You have to make the determination, we got a 4-acre piece in Heber City and a 50-acre piece on the Midway Lane. Then the 50-acre piece on the Midway Lane ought to be the priority.
Depending on
If they're
the-
playing
the-
ball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you,
Right.
you know,
Right, we take
A bunch of
the
other
lowest hanging
factors.
fruit first.
Mhm.
Right, yes. And there will be more
So
fruit.
Steve, if I could ask you, going back over the last many years, because I know you've thought about this 150 times, you don't see this necessarily, our work here, necessarily just being the unincorporated county lands.
Oh, no, no.
You see it being a blend of municipal, county, and then doing all of the leveraging and stretching our bucks and all that.
Yes.
If that's the case, and we, from what you understand, if we come together fairly quickly and we get an approval from the county to move forward, how does that language get articulated in the actual bond itself? And the reason I ask that question is when we went through this in Midway about maybe putting it on the ballot, and it didn't get there, our attorney, our city attorney, went at some length to say that is a horrible assignment to try and get all of that language exactly right and very specific and very clear about what's going to happen with that money that you're bonding
Yeah.
for.
Okay.
And you can leave it, if I understood it correctly, you can leave it in a general sentence and then come back later. Yeah, we're going to approve X dollars for bonding, but now we have to come back with the rules that tell about how those bucks are going to be distributed. If you try and nail every possible option and any solution, that it wouldn't be feasible in the case of Midway. And that's why I say I don't know about the county.
well,
but
and
in
you're
the case of-
tying yourself
Yeah.
pretty tightly to that bond money. So
Well, and
if
part of
there's,
the issue that Corbin was struggling with was the time frame.
Right.
You know, we were
That's right.
talking, he had about a 45-day window to make
Yeah.
that happen.
Yeah.
So it could have been done, it would have been really hard.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
I
yeah.
think the first thing I'd do is bring on some bond counsel.
Okay.
Has done this before. And we got one that lives here in the valley that's very good. Randy Lorson has helped us on a number of bonds, and he's the one that was helping Midway
Mhm.
on it.
well, and also just so, I mean, we can Google bond text and see what other
You
communities
don't have
have.
to reinvent the wheel.
Right, why? Why would we want
No,
to
we
invent the
can look
wheel?
and see what Park City,
So-
how they worded it.
So we can look at different bond wording without getting a specialist in for the time. I'm just thinking about money and trying to do it as reasonably as possible to get this off the ground, but get a feel for how specific other communities have gotten and maybe how they haven't.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's the rules about that money after the bond goes out, then we set up the rules. And we recommend the rules to the council of how we want to stretch this money as far as we can stretch
We
it.
have to be pretty specific when we go to the bonding company on how we're gonna do it. And we need to be pretty specific when we go to, on the ballot, so that people know what they're buying.
And you have to have kind of a pro and con argument too, it's
Yes.
interesting.
Well, and all that does
And-
take
and
time for the
You can
county
use the
to.
bond money to pay the attorney. We did determine that when we were going through the process.
Yeah, we need
So-
administrative costs to come out of the bond.
Well, and you know what, I hate to step back a minute, but can we get some email, I mean, I think I might have most of your emails, but an email list so that when we get some of this information, we can be sending it, like Justin Key, I don't have his email, or,
Right.
so,
Right.
you know, if we
Or
could
phones.
get that, we could be sending some of this text to each other before our next meeting, so we're not reading it all when we get here. Is my thought, if that's okay, and we can just start an email group and start sharing information in the meantime. But there's people that have done this already, so that's kind of where we can plug in, you know, what we think is important,
Let's
but.
get everybody.
And then the county attorney's got to look it over, and, you know, so we've got it, like Celeste said, you know, your city attorney didn't have much time to get it pulled together in half time, so he needs a couple months, I'm sure, the county attorney, to look over and word the bond and, you know, make sure everything's.
Now, it sounds to me like we're all being, at least whoever's talking is very positive about going to a bond. I know I am, okay? And Spencer and Celeste, Tracy, I think I have your email.
We
can
But
just
I
take a picture of
say,
this
is
and we can send it out.
Spencer, is that your consensus? What do you think about going to a bond?
I think we should go for a bond. I don't know, I just want to make sure we get the most bang for our buck. You know, that's why I said that comment earlier. But if there's some other factors that would help make land that's higher, higher priced feasible, like Celeste's opinion of no tax breaks and stuff, I think that's a good idea. We should still do it.
Well, and just so you know, I mean, some of us have been working on this for a few years, in the Northfields especially. And so when you go out for grant money, they require you leveraging their money as well. So they don't just hand you over money without you showing that the actual landowner made a contribution, and then, you know, maybe matching funds, like, and then the county bond as well. They're not just gonna hand over money. So a lot of those criteria that we need for our, you know, criteria for how we're going to spend the money, these grant company, you know, they already have some of this.
They want to make sure you've got skin in the game.
Well, let's go back to what we started out with. What type of meeting schedule can we meet?
How's Tuesday nights for everybody?
I've become an advocate of morning meetings.
I'm sorry, I work.
Yeah, me
There's a lot of
too.
people who work and, you know, meet at 7:30 and throw a couple of donuts on the table and don't screw around. And those of you, I'm retired, so this isn't a dog in my hunt,
The
but,
meetings tend to be more
and people can
concise.
get out and rather than coming away from dinner, and those of you that got family responsibilities and one thing or another, and I wasn't of that mind, but since I've been here, those seem to be the most crisp time frames for people to come together.
What is your work schedule, Heidi? You said you work,
I
is
usually
it,
work 7 to 3 every day. If you wanted to meet at 6 a.m., I'll do it, okay?
Oh, okay, so that
But-
doesn't work for you at all?
Yeah, I mean,
so
usually
you
I
would
go
be
to
available for like a 4 though? 4
Yeah,
o'clock?
I can be anywhere at 3 or 3:30.
Because I would always prefer
And then the rest of the evening.
4 as opposed to 7.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
early.
self-employed, so I can leave earlier. I can
Yeah, I'd be in
work
that.
my schedule as such.
All right.
Does
Thank you.
that work? Was The 4 o'clock work for most everybody else?
It depends what day, honestly.
Right.
It depends what day.
Well, and
Maybe
obviously
a
there's going to be
Thursday or
days.
Friday. A Thursday or Friday in the week is better for me than a Monday, Wednesday.
For a Friday is like the worst day ever.
Well, I'm just,
Thursday?
I work all weekend, so that's why I'm on a totally different schedule than everybody. I work when I have to work, so.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that, like, right now, most of us are here. What's this time like for everybody on a, we could start at 6 too, we don't have to start at 7. Or 4, 5:30 even.
But
If-
4 doesn't work.
I probably could do 4 on Tuesdays, yeah. 4 might be okay on
I
Tuesdays.
just have the sewer district meeting the last Tuesday of every month.
But that's at
So-
7
Well, I'm sorry, the
o'clock.
third Tuesday of every month.
That's at
so-
7 o'clock.
Right.
I have the same, well, let's just-
So that 4 o'clock would work then, so you guys can get
But I
to your
have-
7 o'clock?
I have a meeting on the second, at
Second
4 o'clock
Tuesday.
on the second Tuesday, and on the third Tuesday, and on the fourth Tuesday.
Yeah, because you guys have you have special service districts on
We
Tuesday.
have it on the
Sure,
second
on
Tuesday of
Monday.
every month.
What about a Monday at 4 or?
What's your schedule?
I have the same meetings as Steve. I don't have the 3rd and 4th. I feel bad for him
No,
now.
we can always-
But we do have a second Tuesday every month.
You didn't happen to check with Ryan or Justin
No,
how they feel
Justin
about
said
stuff?
he's quite flexible.
I imagine Ryan would be.
Ryan would be.
And I'm not a factor, whatever you do.
He usually has a Monday.
Ryan's economic development
Yeah,
committee
it's a
would go
Monday.
till the, the 6-ish on the Mondays.
So Thursdays.
Well, that's our city council meeting, and then it's our planning commission meetings on the other odd weeks.
What about Tuesday at 5:30? And then you guys can still make it to your 7 o'clock? Does
Well,
that
the-
work?
The second Tuesday and the third Tuesday wouldn't work for me.
Oh, I see.
Right.
They're at 4, right?
Yeah.
Well, the second Tuesday is 4, I know.
I'm willing to do Saturday morning.
No.
I don't care.
Please don't.
Okay.
It's another day to
That's not
me.
gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so maybe a Monday afternoon or evening, except Brian, you know, he has his meeting the second Mondays.
Steve, do you think we'll need to have Doug here for any of the meetings?
No, but we can invite him.
Maybe if Ryan just has that one meeting a month and you're looking to make twice a month, you could do it.
Yeah,
I'm
we
not
do
gonna
it
be
the
involved in
fifth
my
and
meetings,
19th.
I'm just here for this first one,
Well-
but like the 1st and 3rd Mondays or something maybe.
But yeah, what about the 1st and,
Typically we have meetings on the first Midway Water.
The water board.
Yeah,
But that's I mean, if this meeting were at 4, what time's water board?
6, but I have a meeting at 4.
What are you suggesting, Steve? What's good for your schedules?
If we could do Mondays, anytime but the first Monday, works good for me.
Okay. So that would be next Monday, of course, but the 12th.
The 12th,
The 12th is the Economic Development Board. Are you still on that?
yeah,
Okay.
but it
that's-
depends what time we do it.
Yeah, but Ryan's on that too.
what time is the economic?
It's usually
4.
4,
How long does it go?
a couple of hours.
We're usually done by 5:30.
So we could do this
Well,
meeting.
it's shorter now that I'm off the board.
It's always good to have a reason to get done.
Yeah,
Okay, but then the 19th after that is the holiday. We could meet on that holiday. The President's Day holiday. So we could do 2 weeks right there and maybe get a lot done.
for me, the, Mondays or Thursdays would work.
What's your Thursday look like?
You guys have county, city council on Thursdays?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
the 1st and 3rd. Now, on the 8th, we could do it, right? We could do it on February 8th.
What about the 2nd and
That's-
4th Thursdays?
Yes, it's just sometimes I go to planning commission, you know, for different issues, but, yeah. we
What
could
time
do
is
it on the
planning
8th.
commission?
It's at 6 or something like that.
So if we did it the 2nd and